Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with Conversations for Rob. This is our sixth episode, and I'm here with a special guest, a professional women's soccer player named Gabby Seiler, former Gator, and number 38 for your Florida Gators, and number 2 in basketball. She had a little stint playing basketball over there, but a good basketball player in her mind, scoring over 2,000 points, and that was the best for a guy or a girl in that high school in Macintosh, right? Correct?
Yes.
All right. In Georgia. So, Gabby, thanks for coming on. It's a pleasure.
Of course.
All
Thanks for
right.
having me.
I appreciate it. So, growing up, Gabby, you played quite a few sports: basketball, softball, soccer, and track. Talk about that and what made you choose soccer in college instead of playing basketball, which you were great at also in high school.
Yeah, I loved both of those sports a lot, and it was a really tough decision. But around my freshman year of high school, I basically had to make a decision in whether I was going to be more competitive in soccer or basketball. And so I went with soccer just because I was 5'4". So if I maybe wanted to play at a really high Division 1 school for basketball, it probably wasn't in my hopes or dreams. So
Right.
I kind of stuck with like what was going to be great on paper, which was soccer. So that's kind of how I made my decision, was really based on my height, and just seeing maybe what I was going to be more successful in that way.
Okay, now you're from Georgia and you grew up there your whole life. You even went to college at University of Georgia Bulldogs. All right, so you went there for 2 years. After 2 years, you decided to go to Florida. What made you choose Florida?
So I wanted to get outside of my comfort zone, and I knew Becky and I knew what she believed in and how she kind of got teams to be great in the past. And so I played club with Savannah Jordan. So knowing her and hearing her take on kind of how Becky does things at Florida, I was really intrigued by it. So at the end of my sophomore year, I kind of had to make a decision on if I wanted to maybe play pro, or I had to basically decide that at the end of my sophomore year, and if I wanted to be more competitive and really, dedicate a lot of my life to soccer. So I chose Florida for that reason. I thought that Florida would bring out the best in me, not only as a soccer player, but also what Becky does off the field in terms of, becoming a better person and just kind of fulfilling like that and those goals too, not just what you do on the field.
All right, so let's talk about that. So, how did it feel like when you get on the field? You're in the same conference, so you're transferring from Georgia to Florida. How did it feel against playing people that were teammates of yours? Maybe you even grew up with some of the girls. How did that feel playing against them?
I would say the first game and the first 10 minutes were kind of weird just because I was wearing that jersey not even, 2 years ago before
Right.
then. So, I mean, it was definitely weird, but a lot of the girls were really understanding about it, and they supported me, and they knew that a lot of it was my own personal goals and what I maybe wanted to do after soccer. And, at the end of my sophomore year, our coaches had gotten fired at UGA.
Oh,
So that transition was also kind of vague for me at that point. So it was more just my own personal goals, and the girls supported me at UGA, and they were awesome. So even after the game, it was awesome to see them, and I think they understood where I came from a personal standpoint.
so now you, like as you said, another good Georgia soccer player that also is professional as of you is Savannah Georgia. So talk about playing with her in club. How was that? And you obviously you guys are both going on to professional careers. Talk about playing with each other. I know that you guys became close on the team. So if you could talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, in club, we were kind of known as like the dynamic duo. So, when I did transfer to Florida, it was exciting to kind of have that back and kind of reestablish our relationship off the field, but on the field as well. And we complement each other really well because we are such different players on the field. But I think we are kind of each other's missing piece, I think,
Sure.
when it comes to playing on the field. So it was just exciting to get to play with her again and kind of reestablish what we had done in club.
Right, that's great. And guys got to play together for 2 years, right? So that's awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So 2016 was a big year for you guys, making it to the Sweet 16 with a tough loss to Auburn, that 3-1 loss, and then next year, 2017, your senior year, making it all the way to the Elite Eight again, then losing that game to South Carolina, which was heart wrenching. So talk about how does Becky Burley, and she's been here for quite a while. What is it, almost over 20 years she's been
Yeah,
here?
she started the program.
Yeah, she started the program and she's been here for quite a while. So how does she recruit and grow in Florida from kind of a nobody school to the top one of the top soccer schools in the country. How has she done that? And I mean, you've seen it up close.
Yeah, I think it's just the environment that Becky brings to Florida. She does things in a unique way, and she cares about what you do on the soccer field, but she basically brings out the best in everybody. And I think a lot of that does come from being off the field and,
Hmm.
establishing team culture and what are your team values and bringing that on the field. And I think maybe, I don't know if all coaches do this, probably not, but that's Becky's biggest thing is person over player. So she wants to get your best off the field, and I think that just translates on the field as well.
So starting at Florida and doing those 2 years and those two great seasons at Florida, what did you learn about yourself? And what made you, what did the coaching staff with Vic and Becky, did they change about you, whether it's a person or making you a better soccer player?
Well, I think, I got to redshirt for 1 year
Hmm.
because I transferred within conference, and that year it was amazing because I got to learn kind of how the culture was at Florida, and I got to I had to be a good teammate because I wasn't playing on the field, and I think my whole life I had grown up playing or starting, or even if I was coming off the bench making an immediate impact. So I had to find my worth outside of soccer basically, and I had to be a good cheerleader. And I think that was the best thing about redshirting was I kind of found my identity outside of soccer, and I found my identity as a person, and I got to grow a lot in that year because I had to be a good teammate and a cheerleader and use my voice in a way that maybe I wasn't using before.
Right. So let's talk about a game that was. I went to an away game that you did great, and it was a real intense game, kind of back and forth, 0-0 going into overtime against FAU, that first game of your season, senior season, and you got that winning PK. I think it was like in the 95th minute or something. So if you could talk about that, FAU was a team that was kind of down. It's been down for a while, but they're kind of a team that's rising up,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a tough game for you guys, and you guys won that game. If you could just talk about how it felt to win that game winning, make that game winning kick rather.
Yeah, I mean, I was really frustrated that game because I thought we were getting a lot of opportunities and a lot of chances, but
Hmm.
we just couldn't really put it away, or we weren't connecting as much in the final third. And the first game is always like that. It's you kind of have like those first game jitters. And I don't know if that was our first game, but it was one of the earlier
Yeah.
games. So whenever you're still trying to figure out, you have new freshmen and you're trying to figure out kind of your team vibes on the field. So I think it was just exciting to step up and take the BK and put the game away. And I think that
Right.
kind of set the tone for the whole season, which was great.
Right. So with that, I want to talk a little bit about basketball. So, you were a great basketball player in high school, like we elaborated all earlier on in the show with those 2,000 points. But you hadn't played college basketball, and then you hadn't played basketball since the end of your senior season in high school.
Mm-hmm.
How did it feel like getting that call from Coach Cam, who was the coach at the time at Florida, and playing basketball with the SEC team, even though, practicing and stuff like that, even though you had gotten injured? Well, how was it like not playing competitive basketball in such a long time and just kind of getting right back into it?
Yeah, I was really nervous about that just because I had been away from it for so long. But Cam was awesome, and he gave me confidence right away. And it took me a couple of days to kind of get back into the swing of things. And
Right.
basketball is obviously much different movement than soccer and a lot more cutting. So I was definitely sore for 2 weeks.
Right.
But once I kind of got the feel for it, I don't know. I feel like when you played basketball for so much of your life, or you played a sport for so much of your life, you kind of get those movements back pretty
Right.
quick. So a lot of it is muscle memory. So I would just go to the gym every day and shoot on the gun or whatever they call it,
Yeah.
and it was just repetition. And once I started doing that for the first couple of days, I felt like I was getting back to normal. Maybe not how I was in high school, but I definitely
Right.
felt like I could compete. So
Right.
just kind of getting that repetition and that muscle memory back was all it took. But Cam was awesome about it, and he was super encouraging and supportive the entire time I was there. So it was
Right.
great.
So let's talk about the knee injury. And you can clarify if I'm wrong. I did see you at the beginning of the season with, wearing that kind of leg brace and playing throughout the season. And obviously we talked about you getting hurt in that Tennessee game, and then, they messed up or whatever. But if you could, did you have injury issues with your knee before?
No, so I actually had no knee injuries
Okay.
prior, not in, knock on wood, prior in my soccer career until that game. So
Okay. So how was it like, and how is it right now? I guess I should say. I know you had the knee surgery and stuff. How is it kind of getting back into the thick of things? Obviously, with that's a big extreme injury, and kind of takes a long time to kind of fully get back to your playing self. But how has that been recovering from that knee injury?
It's been great. I mean, the first 3 or 4 months were definitely the hardest because I was on crutches for 2 months, and I lived on the third floor in an
Oh,
apartment
wow.
without an elevator. So that was a struggle, and it tested me beyond measure. But once I got through those first 2 months, I was really starting to feel like I was getting back to normal. And I would say I actually celebrated a year of my surgery in January. So I feel like 100%, and my body feels the best it's felt since I had that surgery. So overall, like soccer wise, it feels good, and I definitely feel like I'm back to normal, which is great.
Right. So playing, you feel like you're pretty much back to your playing days with Florida.
Yeah, and it's great because this past fall I was in Gainesville, so I got to train with the girls.
Hmm.
Even though I wasn't on the team anymore, I got to still practice with them, which was amazing by Becky. And so I kind of got to work my way into soccer again, which was great. I didn't have to just jump into, playing with pros. I could just kind of work myself into it. So having that environment and being able to get back into the swing of things was great, and I feel 100% now.
That's great. Happy to hear that.
Yeah.
All right, so the next question is, obviously after you played that senior season, you did get drafted ninth in the NWSL Draft by Portland, the Portland Thorns. How did it feel? Did you go to the draft? And how did it feel to get that call and say, hey, wow, I'm playing professional now. This is a big deal.
Yeah, so I actually had knee surgery the day after the draft.
Oh, wow.
So, because I found out I had to have surgery the day before the draft.
Right.
So, I actually, I was at home in my apartment, and Mark Parsons called me and told me he was going to draft me, and that Portland's going to be your new home, which was awesome and exciting. And I told him my circumstances, and he still drafted me, which was really awesome and really great by him because he still had faith in me, even though he knew I was going to be recovering from knee surgery. So that was great.
That's great. Happy to hear that. So let's talk about, you did get that bachelor degrees in communications, telecommunications. And I know you just finished your master's degree this year, correct?
Yes.
All right. So congratulations
Thank
on that. With that. And I did hear you throughout watching some games on ESPN Plus or ESPN, whatever they call it now. They changed the name 100 times. Doing color commentary at some of the Gators soccer games this year. Would that be a career? I mean, we know that you're going to be playing NWSL this year. Would that be something that you would think about maybe doing down the road? Is whether it's announcing games on ESPN or doing NWSL games? Would you want to do that down the road?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love soccer and I love sports, and having a big sports background since I was 4 years old, I feel like that's definitely my first love and something that I'm really passionate about. And getting to experience commentating, even though I wasn't on camera, like the radio part, it's really difficult, and I didn't realize how hard it was. It made me have a newfound respect for people who do that, but it's so fun to watch it from that perspective. And being so high up and being able to see the whole field, you get a new soccer perspective as well. So I got to learn a lot about the game even from watching it from that perspective, more than I had probably ever in the past. So I definitely think it may be something I would want to do when I'm done playing soccer, but as of now, we're going pro.
You got more soccer playing left for sure. So let's talk about some questions now, and these are kind of some fun questions to start off the second part of the interview. One word that you would describe yourself as?
Bubbly.
Okay, I can agree with that. All right, so you're pretty versatile on the field. You've played defender, you've played striker, you've kind of played all over the place, probably besides goalie.
Yeah, I'm not good at goalie.
So playing so many positions, what has been your favorite position that you've played?
Oh man, probably attacking center mid.
Okay.
But I don't know because I love all the positions that I've played, even at Florida. So I think I like being able to make others look good, or I like to kind of set everyone up. Like, I don't necessarily like to score the goals, which I feel like that's kind of weird. But I like just setting people up and getting the assists. So I think probably center mid, because I feel like they just try to make the forwards look good.
Right. So have you spoke to the coach? Did they say what position that they're gonna have you play in Portland yet?
So I think it kind of just depends.
Right.
Luckily, because I feel like I'm pretty versatile, and I'm not set on one position.
Sure.
I think it kind of just depends on where I fit in with the team and with the girls, and I mean, who really
Yeah, it's
knows?
a whole new
Yeah,
experience.
exactly.
That's true. So let's talk about favorite athlete. Who is your favorite athlete?
Definitely LeBron James.
Okay, so we go to basketball first.
Yes.
No soccer,
No,
women
honestly,
or men?
My favorite professional woman athlete would be Maya Moore. She's a basketball
Yeah,
player.
basketball player,
Not
too.
soccer. I know. All my
So-
favorite athletes are basketball
All right,
players.
so we'll stick with basketball then. All right, so favorite color.
Pink.
All right, pink. What was the most exciting game that you've played in a Gator uniform?
Definitely when we beat Stanford at home.
That was 17, 16,
That was 2017.
17. Yeah,
Yes.
that was a big game. Because you guys played them on the road, too, over there.
No, we actually played them at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we beat them.
That one may have been Washington. I know you
Yeah,
went somewhere West
we
Coast.
did. We went to Seattle, but no, we beat Stanford, and they ended up winning the national championship that year. So we were their only loss, technically.
All right, so favorite artist or music?
My favorite artist, Billy Joel.
Billy Joel? All right.
I'm an old soul.
As a Red Sox guy and a Boston guy, Sweet Caroline. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So favorite team?
Favorite.
Don't say the Gators because that's a weak. That's a weak answer.
Yeah, I can't say that.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can't say that.
Probably. Oh wow, that's hard because I love all sports. Oh my gosh, easy. New Orleans Saints.
All right, fair enough. Why is that? Because you're from Georgia.
Yeah,
no
my-
Falcons.
No, my gosh, I hate the Falcons.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Falcons fans.
Tough crowd.
My family, my mom's side of the family, they're from Mississippi.
Okay.
So I actually grew up an LSU fan.
Oh wow.
Yes, but
So you've been all over the SEC.
Yeah, exactly.
Georgia, LSU.
but I love the
Florida.
Saints. They're my heart. So.
Okay. Tough loss. this
Yeah.
year.
Oh, I don't talk
Tough
about
loss.
that.
Tough loss. It
Bad
was a rigged
calls.
job.
Bad
we'll
calls.
say that.
Bad calls.
All right, dog or cat?
Dog.
All right. What kind of dog?
I actually have a golden retriever.
All right, same
so-
here. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
All
love
right.
him. He's a year
Golden
old.
Lab.
Yeah,
All
love
right.
dogs.
So, advice to soccer players coming into college or even coming into high school as far as females.
My biggest advice, and especially since I've been working with the soccer team, not being on the team,
Sure.
would be to not have expectations and to work really hard when you get there and earn your job. I think a lot of girls, they were so good in club or they were so good in high school or whatever their situation was, but college is a completely different game and you really have to earn your spot. So I would say just don't come in expecting anything. Just work hard and use that hard work to not give the coaches a reason to not play you.
All right. And that's all I got, Gabby. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And thanks for coming
having me.
on.